In 1964, Venera 4 attempted to land on Venus. At the time, scientists did not know much about the planet. They believed Venus had a thick atmosphere and might even be somewhat similar to Earth. Venera 4 entered the atmosphere at a speed of about 40 kilometers per hour. A few minutes later, its parachute deployed. However, the probe was destroyed by the planet's extreme pressure and temperature, which reached 22 bars and 280 degrees Celsius. The Soviet Union used this failure to better understand the planet and improve future missions. They later launched Venera 7 with a special mechanism designed to prevent the parachute from opening too early. The mechanism would disintegrate once the temperature reached 200 degrees Celsius, giving the probe a better chance to descend more quickly toward the surface of Venus. To solve the pressure problem, engineers designed the probe to withstand up to 182 bars. But once again, before the probe reached the surface, the parachute tore apart and the probe crashed. However, if you've been following carefully, the engineers always learned from their failures. Even after the crash, the probe continued transmitting data. That is how scientists discovered that the surface temperature of Venus was around 500 degrees Celsius. At that point, they realized the biggest challenge was no longer pressure, but heat. This led to the creation of Venera 8, which included a cooling system for its electronics made with lithium nitrate. They launched it toward Venus, and this time the system worked. Venera 8 is considered the second human-made object to successfully land on another planet. After landing, it survived for about 1 hour on the surface of Venus, enough time to send valuable data back to engineers so they could perfect future missions. By then, the Soviet Union had learned how to land on Venus. That is how they later sent Venera 9 with 2 cameras to show humanity, for the very first time, what Venus looked like. Only one camera worked after landing, but it captured the first ever photograph of the surface of Venus. In later missions, the quality of the cameras and images continued to improve. I love this story because it shows that humanity did not succeed simply because they knew exactly what they were doing. They succeeded because they kept learning from failure and never gave up. And honestly, I find that extraordinary.